I am so tired of you acting like you speak for the people of the state of Indiana or the city of Indianapolis. You do not speak for me or anyone I know. Now listen, you two jerks. Jerks on the right.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. How are ya? Hi, Chad.
Happy Monday.
Chad's filling in for Mock today. I know. We're going to have a show. It's the Daisy and Chad show this morning. Let me tell you what's coming up. Today is Black Monday. We're going to be talking about the global response of U.S. tariffs. Oh, crap. You know what I didn't do? I didn't put my blinds down. Oh, well, you guys are going to see my backyard. Sorry. I totally forgot to do that. You're going to see all the crazy haps that go on in the backyard. I think the dogs are running around back there. So much liberal protesting happened this weekend. We're going to be covering that. Plus, Fauci was trending again. Very excited to talk about Fauci and an update on that Frisco high school murder. All that and so much more coming up on the show today. You guys can reach us in all the places, www.chicksontheright.com/links. And please subscribe to this podcast. Mock is taking a day today because she has friends in town. She is like hanging out with friends. She's doing that and entertaining. So another thing I wanted to mention is that you should have blackout coffee in your cup. You guys, top tier America First coffee from Blackout Coffee. It's in here. It's in my giant America cup. Okay. For a limited time, you can visit blackoutcoffee.com/chicks. Use code chicks. Get 20% off your first order. It's good stuff, you guys. Small batch, yummy, flavored coffee. All right. Very sleep deprived today. Just wanted to quickly mention, I thought this was something I just thought it was neat. My daughter's first concert was last night, you guys. First concert. It's kind of a milestone, right?
It is.
She saw, well, it was like a festival. They have these big festivals in Texas. They have them all over the country, but the festivals were like a mishmash of people would get together and do, a bunch of music. One of the groups that was there last night was Lynyrd Skynyrd, and one was Nelly, in addition to like a gajillion other people, right? But her favorite was Lynyrd Skynyrd, you guys. It was Lynyrd Skynyrd. Last night was her favorite. I know. My Gen X heart is just warm. So anyway, I was
baby boomer heart.
Is that baby boomer?
Yeah, I think Leonard would have been a baby boomers.
I think they're all dead, you guys. I think it's like it was basically.
I think there's 2 left, but
it's kind of like a cover band, but still. I mean, she had a really great time. Got home really late. We were all up really late, so I'm kind of sleepy. What was your first concert, Chad?
Oh my God, my first concert. I think my aunt took me to see the Little River Band.
Oh my God, LRB, man.
Yeah. So
you guys, you have to say what your first concert was.
Don't be late.
Oh my God, I love LRB. They're so good. So milestone was reached last night. I was pretty excited to see her go to her first.
That was my first one here in the U.S. I did go to a concert when I was with my soccer team. We snuck out when I was in England.
Yeah.
We went and saw Adam Ant.
Oh my gosh, Adam Ant.
Of his stardom in like the early
goody two shoes. Yeah, I think the very first concert I ever went to was Echo and the Bunnymen. You guys have probably never heard of them.
I love Ian.
You really? Are you serious? You know Echo and the Bunnymen?
I know Echo, yeah.
And they never made it on stage because they were so drugged out. Yeah. This is like the 80s, right? And so I ended up I didn't see them, but that was technically my first concert, right?
By the way, live.
They're really good.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean,
never really got to see it. So
dancing horses.
I see so many people like NXS. Oh my God, I would have loved to see NXS. Oh God, Three Dog Night. They're so good. Journey, so many good ones. 10,000 Maniacs. You guys, all the good ones. Anyways, I just thought that was something to mention because what a cool milestone that is, right? Okay, one of the top stories over the weekend was all the protesting that liberals are doing, and we're gonna cover that. We're gonna get to that, but first, I have a handful of quick headlines, and then we'll get to some main course stuff. Okay. First headline that I needed to tell you guys about was Idaho Governor Brad Little. He signed House Bill 380 last week, which allows the death penalty for pedophiles charged with aggravated lewd conduct with children 12 and younger. I'm so excited about this.
Absolutely.
Kill them all.
You know when they won't offend? When they're 6 feet below the ground.
Right. Exactly. A dead pedophile cannot strike again, right?
Nope.
That's an indisputable truth. So that is good news. I thought I would just let everybody know that happened. So bravo to Idaho Governor Brad Little. There's a measles outbreak in Texas. I think Texas is not the only place that it is, but there's measles is happening. Measles is coming back around.
What goes through it's like it fell out of style, but now it's back.
Right. I think we have a tweet. Valen, do we have a tweet about measles? I think we do.
Don't get it.
Right. Right. There's a bunch of stuff in here, right? And so RFK Jr. went to Texas. There was a little girl that died. And I think he talked to the family. He said, I'm also here to support Texas health officials and learn how our HHS agencies can better partner with them. One of the things that people are really mad at him about, and I think this is really stupid, is in that last paragraph. He said the most effective way to prevent the spread of measles is the MMR vaccine. I don't know why people would be mad at him for that, because, most of us were vaccinated. We had the MMR vaccine when a lot of us here are Gen Xers and boomers and whatnot, millennials. We had the MMR vaccine. So, people are mad that he's, not poo-pooing the vaccine. Just so what? It's fine. He's written about it. He's talked about it. But it's like I was telling
COVID, that would have been something completely non-controversial. Like,
right.
Of course, you go get a, do you even know anybody who's ever had the measles?
I don't know a single person except for Peter Brady on the Brady Bunch.
Yes. But
Remember?
a human that's real.
Right. I don't know a human that's real. But we were talking about that in pre-show. Do you remember like Peter Brady when he came in? That was like one of the episodes of the Brady Bunch. And he came in, he's like, they sent me home. I got the measles. And it wasn't like as scary when we were growing up. It just wasn't. Now everything is so scary. Yeah. Alice got it too. She did. You remember?
That's right.
So, I know. It just, now all this stuff is so terrifying now. So anyway, that's happening. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep you guys posted as to what's going on with that. Also, another headline is the capital gains tax. So Donald Trump has announced plans to fully eliminate the capital gains tax in 2025. So this has sparked a variety of reactions on social media. And so I don't know if this is because of all of the stuff that's happening in the economy right now, or all the things that he's doing with tariffs. I don't know. Or it's just because this is just the next step in his economic plan. But that's something that's happening. We'll also be watching that. How do you feel about that, Chad? Do you have any thoughts about the capital gains?
You know what? It pits the 1% versus everybody else. So it's perfect for the battle of the 1%ers versus everybody else. Because most of the people don't have private equities. Most of the people don't. Getting rid of the capital gains, even if it's 20%, people are going to freak out. How much money are we going to lose here? And
right.
And so it's it's another step. He wants to get. I think he would love to get rid of the income tax. That's never going to happen, but he would love to get rid of that.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Like all across the board. I mean, I live in Texas. We don't have a state income tax, but still, oh my God, it'd be so great across the board. We need a flat tax. That's what we need. Remember Herman Cain? 999. You remember him?
Absolutely.
God, it was such a great idea. I loved it so much. Another very important headline that we need to discuss very quickly is that Olive Garden has lost its top spot as the restaurant chain in America. It's lost its spot to Texas Roadhouse. How do we feel about that? Do we have any feelings about that at all?
Both of them are very good with bread. Texas Roadhouse. I don't think
they are.
Realize how good the bread is at Texas Roadhouse.
I do.
The breadsticks at Olive Garden are it's religious experience.
It is. It is Olive Garden. Olive Garden is just like it's an institution, right? But it's been bumped by Texas Roadhouse.
Everything in Texas doing stuff.
Right? Texas is winning now. So anyways, I thought that was very interesting. Okay, so we have a lot to cover, not the least of which is the fact that today is Black Monday.
Yes.
which is racist. But, that's neither here nor there.
That's what I keep saying.
Right.
I keep telling my wife that shouldn't be African American Monday.
Totally. I know, right? But before we talk about Black Monday, we got to talk about transgender activist and Harvard instructor Alejandro Caraballo, who leaked Doge employee emails. And it just shows you how easily that personal information can get exposed, and your personal information can also be weaponized, which is why you need Aura, our sponsor, Aura. They have your back no matter who is watching. When I signed up to Aura, they found 4 different instances of my data being breached, and it completely freaked me out. But they resolved every single one of those instances within a half hour. And right now, you guys can check out aura.com/chicks to get access for $12 a month after a 14-day free trial. You're going to get real-time monitoring. They're going to monitor your personal data, including your social security number. You're going to get alerted in minutes when your credit file has been compromised. Mine was absolutely compromised. I had no idea. I thought I had everything locked down, but surprise. Aura VPN protects your internet connection with military-grade encryption. They have antivirus for malware. They have password manager. Aura safeguards your information with the same standards as banks and the military, and they're never going to sell your data to third parties. So sign up at aura.com/chicks. Get Aura for $12 a month after the 2-week trial. That's less than 2 coffees, you guys. That's aura.com/chicks to claim your offer. Do it. Do it.
Do it now.
Do it. Black Monday.
Black Monday. I'm looking at the markets right now. Ooh.
The Dow tanked. I mean, it tanked pretty hard. All right. It was, and people are freaking out. Like, I saw Ryan Saavedra, he's big conservative dude on Twitter. He said one of his friends is now voting Democrat because of this. He's just super pissed off like this. He looked at his 401k and he said, I'm done. Like, I can't do this. Trump is reckless and this is it. I feel like if you're voting Democrat after this, and you're probably never a conservative to begin with.
It's hard with certain people inside of the quote unquote conservative market. Because I think we think everybody who votes for Trump is conservative. They're not. Some are conservative. Some are MAGA, which are not conservatives. They're not Reagan conservativites or none of that stuff. So there's a lot of things that go into Trump's coalition.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
I took Jack golfing on Friday, and I had more people ask me about this, nervous, worried, especially some older people who are in retirement. And there is a worry there of some of this stuff. And I will say, Trump and them, they need to message better. There's no doubt about this. Messaging hasn't been solid, and it's been a little bit all over the place. And kind of telling everybody, just deal with it. It's going to be fine. Yeah, I think people are looking for a little bit more than that. Because
the people who are wanting to retire like in a year, they're freaking out.
Or
those people
now. I had a guy I was golfing with, man. He was not happy. And let me tell you something. He is as MAGA as it gets. And he just feels like he doesn't know what's going on. And now feels like that there's some trust being broken. Like, hey, you're sending people out and you're sending a message over here. You're sending a message over here. How about just one unified message where it seems like, look, the reason we're doing this is for this, and this. How long are they going to last? I think is another question I got 100 times over. Like, because everybody thinks these are negotiations. Are they real? Are they going to be here tomorrow? Are they going to be here next week? Are they going to be here a month from now? I'm like, I have no idea.
And we'll talk about the negotiations because I think countries are starting to I think it's working. I think that what he wanted is starting to work because some the countries are starting to come to the table and say, okay, well, we're going to talk because he's got our balls in a jar now. So we'll talk about that in a second. But we got a video of Howard Lutnick, who is the Commerce Secretary. He's talking about what's happening with all of this, with the global trade. He's on Face the Nation with everybody's favorite journalist, Margaret. I don't give a damn, Margaret.
Secretary said on another network, we're going to hold the course. It's not the kind of thing you can negotiate away in days or weeks. That makes it sound like the tariffs are staying in place at least for days or weeks. Is that correct, or is the president considering postponing implementation to negotiate?
There is no postponing. They are definitely going to stay in place for days and weeks. That is sort of obvious. The president needs to reset global trade Everybody has a trade surplus, and we have a trade deficit. We are paying away our future and our lives. The countries of the world are ripping us off, and it's got to end. The president has made it crystal clear. This is the policy we are going to protect. The factories that come build in America, we are going to protect them. They're going to be successful. That's why they're going to build in America, the greatest economy in the earth. All of these companies are going to come and build here.
And that's the thing, is that it has to happen, right? I mean, if you are getting ripped off, it has to happen. It's kind of like everybody wants to wear Carhartts, but they don't want to do Carhartt shit, you know?
Yeah, of course.
You gotta get in there and do the work in order to reap the rewards. And so I see everybody's looking at their 401ks going, oh my God, I hate this. Well, I mean, it's painful. It's going to be painful. If you want to reap the rewards though, you gotta deal with it. And then, you know, there's so much doom and gloom. There's been so much like negative this weekend. And I mean, I get that, because this is the painful period, right? It's sort of like you've been divorced. Have you been divorced?
Yeah.
And I have too. And it's like, I remember that time it was a very painful time. I had like $50 in my pocket and a black and white TV after I got divorced. And there's that painful period. I don't know if anybody out there has ever been divorced, but it's like painful emotionally. And for me, it was painful financially. And then I had to rebuild. And looking back, I'm like, all right, that was worth it. You know what I mean? It was worth it. It was fine. I went through it and I'm better for it. And it was painful, but I'm on the other side and I'm stronger for it. And that's kind of, I equate a little bit of what we're going through now. It is short-term pain, long-term gain. I'm sorry, I did not see who said that, but Virginia, yes, that's kind of how I look at this. And people just are not willing to do that. And there's a great video here from Victor Davis Hansen. He has a good question. And I think everybody needs to hear this question.
So does Vietnam. So does Mexico. So does Europe. So do a lot of countries. So does India. But if tariffs are so destructive of their economies, why is China booming? How did India become an economic powerhouse when it has these exorbitant tariffs on American imports? How did Vietnam, of all places, become such a different country, even though it has these prohibitive tariffs? Why isn't Germany, before its energy problems, why wasn't it a wreck? It's got tariffs on almost everything that we send them. How is the EU even functioning with these tariffs? I thought tariffs destroyed an economy, but they seem to like them. And they're angry that they're no longer asymmetrical. Apparently, our people who are tariffing us think tariffs improve their economy. Maybe they're right. I don't know. The second thing is, why would you get angry at the person who is reacting to the asymmetrical tariff and not the people who inaugurated the tariff? Why is Canada mad at us when it's running a $63 billion surplus and it has tariffs on some American products at 250%? Doesn't it seem like the people who started this asymmetrical, if I could use the word trade war, should be the culpable people, not the people who are reluctantly reacting to it?
I mean, it's a valid question.
It is a fair question. We decided a long time ago we were going to export ideas, import cheap goods, and we got addicted to that. And when it comes to, so there's two kinds of trade that goes on. There is service trade, of which we have a surplus, which is like banking, finances, insurance. We have a surplus in that. And then there's goods, and we like cheap goods because we're America and we like cheap shit. We want to buy them, stock them deep and sell them cheap. And it's like, I'm not going to pay $9 for socks when I can get 9 socks for $1.
Right.
And
right.
That, it's so somewhere along the line that happened. And by the way, for a lot of these tariffs, especially in Europe and Japan, we put the tariffs on ourselves. We said to them, hey, we're going to rebuild after World War II. We're going to rebuild your country. We're not going to give you $1. We're going to let you charge us for importing stuff into your country. And for that, you can rebuild your nations. And that's what they've done. But they've lasted quite a long time.
Right.
At some point in time, you go, okay, when does this start to change?
And that's the thing. They've gotten so used to it. It's become a thing where they've just become reliant on that. And we let that happen.
Yeah.
And then making that go away is the painful part.
Well, because
It's like,
nobody cared. Nobody cared because we were
Right.
getting cheap goods. We weren't suffering.
mhm.
Let's be honest. This was nowhere near the top of anybody's list when it came to things that people cared. They wanted, they wanted inflation fixed. They wanted the economy stronger. They wanted, immigration and stuff like the woke, wacky world. Tariffs really weren't thought about as like an important thing, although Trump's very big into tariffs and let's fight this fight. But
he sees it as a means to an end. He sees it as a way, as a conduit to improve the economy overall. And as a businessman, I do trust him more than I trust a lot of these politicians who are like, same old, same old. Let's just keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And we got Karoline Leavitt weighed in last week. Here's her take on it.
And the president is ensuring economic stability here in the United States of America. Yesterday, he was joined in the Rose Garden by everyday Americans, middle-class workers. You heard from one of them who the president invited on stage by name because he knows this man and he knows what the impact of globalization has done to communities like Detroit, Michigan, where auto workers have been put out of jobs, where we've seen factories shut down. We have offshored critical supply chains in our country. Do we want our critical supplies like life-saving medical medicines and chips being made in China, or do we want them being made right here in the United States of America? Every American knows the answer to that question. This is a common sense policy. And if these countries wanted to negotiate, if these countries wanted to do what's right, they've had 70 years to do it. Instead, they have been ripping off American workers. And President Trump has made it very clear that this is a policy he was going to implement. He campaigned on the idea of fair trade, on tariffs, and nearly 80 million Americans elected him to do it, and he is delivering.
I mean, she's not wrong about that either. He did campaign on that. He did say that. So the guys and the women who were like, oh my God, I'm looking at my 401ks and I'm freaked out about it, who voted for him, I'm like, but you voted for this. It is you gave him a mandate. He's doing stuff that may make you uncomfortable, but he's shaking stuff up. If you wanted the same old crap, you should have voted for the same old people.
Yeah, well, see, they voted for, they didn't, in their mind, it's circumstances they didn't see. They voted for Trump and they thought it was going to kind of be like last time, but there's a lot of talk. And the fear is that there would be a recession. And obviously that's a big fear. Nobody wants a recession.
Right.
But that's the fear now because they're getting nervous. And I don't care about what other index you look at, whatever matrix you look at. Consumer confidence is the number one thing. If you feel like things are going to go to shite, you're going to spend your money in a much different way and you're going to hold on to it. And people are getting nervous about that. It's a long-term play. And the thing is, they're not going to be on forever. Some will, some won't. We also have to understand, like, our spending power comparatively to Nepal is a little bit different. So, putting a tax on, a tariff on some of these things, if some of that we get is probably, we're going to hit everybody. And then we're going to slowly pick some of these things off because he understands that, Nepal's, $1 buys in a house in Nepal. So,
right.
What do you own? You own everything. You get the mountain, the whole 9 yards. So this is going to be interesting to see how it is. But I think this is about China at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with
anything else.
A lot of it has to do with China.
They pissed Trump off, and he's trying to teach Europe a little bit of a lesson. But this, at the end of the day, this is the start of another Cold War. Us versus China. The chips aren't being built here specifically for us, for the globe, because Taiwan understands, hey, if something was to go south, we're all screwed.
Yeah, but you know what? I agree with Karoline Leavitt. I don't want my medical stuff being made in China.
No.
I don't want to be relying on China. They can suck it, you know?
And that's what COVID showed.
Yeah.
How
it did.
Easy lines can be disrupted in that situation. So we should be making some of this stuff here.
You're damn right. We should be.
We should be making stuff that matters, not BS. We don't need to make socks here. We don't need to make, keyboards. We need to make stuff that matters. But
medicine.
Yes. But even doing that, I mean, there's no guarantee that humans are going to make that stuff.
No, I agree. But she has, a valid point. Now, Tim Pool from the Timcast, he thinks that in the grand scheme of things, like the outrage is kind of ridiculous, and that people, regular everyday people, don't actually care about this. Like there are people who look at their 401ks, but like then there are people who don't. Working class people may not have like these abundant 401ks, and they don't give a crap about this right now. I thought this was a really interesting clip.
On this issue and tell you outright, no one cares about the market. And what I mean by no one is obviously there are going to be people in media and influence who do, but there's actually only one poll that really matters, and it's how many people are going to watch this show right now. Now, I'm not saying literally everybody in the world watches the show. I'm saying we can actually track. Having done this show now going on 5 years, we're entering year 5. I know when we choose a lead story for the night, we're trying to figure out what is the most impactful story, what matters most to people. Mm-hmm. I know when we do stock market stories, nobody clicks on them.
Yeah.
And so when the media comes out and they're like, this is the apocalypse, I'll tell you guys this. When we're leading off with the stock market went down on Timcast IRL, it means nothing else happened. Because I know that the average person does not care. Don't get me wrong, there are people who care, and they're allowed to care because people have retirement funds and all that stuff. But I'm telling you, if Donald Trump drove a Tesla around a racetrack today, that would get way more views from the average person, way more of concern to them than whether or not the stock market moved. I understand it's going to have effect on pensions, but the average person's not going to see that. Yeah. And so, especially now, as millennials and Gen Z are becoming the dominant force as the audience in media, because older folks are moving on, they're watching less, they're getting pharmaceutical ads on Fox News instead. Yeah. We are going to be able to see how much this stuff really matters to them. And I got to be honest, Trump probably knows this move isn't going to matter as much because he's targeting the younger generation. If he wants his movement to succeed, here's the wild thing that people do not consider, which is surprising. Obviously, consultants do and politicians to a certain extent do, but you're 25. Mm-hmm. That means when Trump descended the escalator, you were 15 years old.
15, yeah.
So you probably weren't paying attention at all.
I was, because my dad was in politics, but most of my friends, nobody was paying attention.
Exactly. And now here you are voting.
Yeah.
And your friends are voting. And so 4 years from now, what Trump is looking at is who's 17 years old right now? What future are they looking at? I want them to vote for me. Not just 17-year-olds, but it's also about not when you are legally allowed to vote, but when you become an active voter. So we know that younger 18 to 29 tends not to vote.
Yeah.
So Trump might be looking at 27-year-olds and saying, what's bugging them? Because they're going to be 30 in the next election cycle, and I want their votes for our party or whatever that might be. Stock drop-off, I got to tell you, no, like you mentioned, nobody under 30 gives it.
Isn't that an interesting take?
Yeah. And nobody
yeah.
under 30 cares. That's fine. Maybe you should care a little bit more based on what's going on. But you'll care when the company you work for says we have to cut back. You care when small business says, I can't get all the parts I need because stuff's too expensive. And all of a sudden, we're going to have to cut back on what we're doing, or we're going to have to lay people off. You care at that point in time. You don't care about whether or not, because it's a long-term play. You're not retiring tomorrow. So what do you care if the stock market goes down, 15, 20%, if you actually are retired? Well, like you said, that's a different story. But you'll care when the trickle down comes and hits you when it comes to the cost of life and whether or not your business is going to expand or cannot expand. But yeah, the stock market. But Trump does care about the stock market because he brags about it.
I do find it interesting, though, the dichotomy between the generations, and we'll touch on that a little bit later in the show, because when it comes to these protests that happened over the weekend, what you saw, and we'll talk about this, but what you saw was older people, a lot of older people, not a lot of younger people, which was really surprising. It's a lot of the 50 and up, a lot of the people that we see here in this audience. Really weird, you guys. That's who's out protesting. I mean, granted, there are a lot of Soros funded people, but still, it's not the young people, it's the older people. So it's bizarre. This dichotomy between the young and the old is just very interesting to me. I just find that, intriguing. So we have another clip from Kevin Hassett. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He's the White House economic advisor. He said that 50 countries have already reached out to negotiate. So I think that what Trump is trying, kind of to your point about Europe, is like, okay, let's talk, let's sit down. We're gonna chat about this. I think it may have a lot to do with he's just trying to poke China a little bit more. But the other countries are willing to sit down. They're like, let's talk about this. I want to negotiate. So, here's what he has to say.
More than 50 countries have reached out to the president to begin a negotiation. But they're doing that because they understand that they bear a lot of the tariff. And so I don't think that you're going to see a big effect on the consumer in the U.S. because I do think that the reason why we have a persistent long-run trade deficit is these people have very inelastic supply. They've been dumping goods into the country in order to create jobs, say, in China.
Mm-hmm.
But we consume those goods.
Yeah.
I said the other day, Trump is trying to be the Ozempic to our consumption addiction. We are obese in the cheap goods, and we need Ozempic, Trump Zempic, to come and try to knock some of this stuff off.
Trump Zempic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and then meanwhile, you got people like, companies like Volkswagen, they're big mad. They are reportedly adding a new line item to their vehicle stickers. Because I guess all that's starting beginning of May, all the tariff stuff with
which
cars.
may not even be in by then.
I don't know, but they said they're going to print an import fee on each new car's buying label, so customers will see the exact cost next to the vehicle's added features, prices, fuel efficiency estimations, and crash test ratings. I feel like that's a bad idea for them. I'll just go, I'm not going to buy a Volkswagen. I'm not going to buy one. I had one, had a lot of electrical problems, not going to buy one again. So that was back in the 90s. And so with this, I'm not going to buy one. If I had choices, like if I could buy a Toyota or a Honda or a Nissan or I don't know, anything else, why would I? Somebody asked, who even buys a Volkswagen? I don't know. Especially if they add a bunch of crap to it.
Although the new micro van's pretty cool looking.
They're pretty cool. Yeah.
They're pretty cool looking.
So anyways, that's happening. They're big mad at Trump. So, all right, we have to talk about these crazy hands-off protests this weekend. But before we do that, if you're in debt, you need to contact our friends at donewithdebt.com. The credit system is totally rigged to keep you stuck, you guys. And Done with Debt gives you the strategies to break free from that never-ending pit of debt that keeps you doing the things you want to be doing. And they can help you get out of that hole of debt quickly. They help you get back the control so you can keep more of your money, and then they help you with the interest. And if you're dealing with debt issues, it totally sucks. You don't want to do that. A lot of us have been there. Visit donewithdebt.com. Talk with one of their strategists. It's totally free. It's not a loan program. It's not bankruptcy. It's just real debt relief. Done with Debt, they negotiate directly with creditors for you, and they help to slash your bills, erase penalties, and eliminate interest. Debt holds you back, you guys. It does. We are cruising into the second quarter of 2025. You have plenty of time to make this your year and then turn that debt into a reset button. So visit donewithdebt.com. Talk with one of their strategists. It's free. Go to donewithdebt.com. That's donewithdebt.com. And then when you visit the website, tell them that you heard about them from the chicks on the right on the drop-down menu. All right, hands off. So on Saturday, there were over 1,200 of these protests across the United States of America. And the ire was directed primarily at Donald Trump and Elon Musk. So the most significant demonstrations were in some of the bigger cities like Chicago, New York, LA, Boston. And I mean, I say they're participants, but a lot of these people were like paid actors. Let's just get real, because they were, paid by Soros, but they were spouting stuff about Project 2025. They're still doing this. They're still doing it. And then they're fear mongering a lot about Social Security and Medicare, Medicaid, and the Department of Education, which is why I think a lot of older people were out there. Kamala Harris sent out a little kickoff tweet, and we've got that. I think we've got that. Do we have it? There we go. She said, today in every state across our nation, Americans are standing up to the administration as they implement Project 2025 at full speed. Thank you for using your voices and the power of protest to stand for Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, for the Department of Education and programs like Head Start, for clean air and water. Oh my God. For the right to make decisions about your own body without government interference. The voices of working people will always be louder than the unelected billionaires. I swear, it's like the same old crap, different day. So yeah, there was a big one in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, there's a big one a few places, but Asheville, huh? How about that? The party in Asheville.
Asheville was a big one. And signs were filled with like Nazi symbolism and anti-immigrant slogans. And And the majority of the protesters were over 50, you guys. Who are these people? That's what I want to know. Like there's a video that we have of these people singing "We Shall Overcome," which, as you know, is like a civil rights song.
Yeah. I don't.
I mean, look at the people.
It's the first group of white people.
White people singing "We Shall Overcome." Isn't that cultural appropriation? Isn't it? Yeah. So
what are they overcoming?
That's a great question, Chad. What are they overcoming? Yeah.
Your Social Security's not going anywhere. And trust me, if it started to go somewhere, Elon and them said, we're going to eliminate it, we're going to do this, I think you'd find a lot of MAGA people out there be very upset about that too. Hold on a second. But that being said, what exactly are you guys overcoming?
Right. Well, I mean, according to Kamala Harris, they're like all the things that they talked about.
Water.
Right. This is the thing. It's just, and then the whole notion of they're taking your Social Security, your Medicare, your Medicaid away, all lies, total lies. This is all being orchestrated by an organization called Indivisible, and Leah Greenberg and Ezra Levin are the co-founders of this organization. And of course, the backers are like Soros and Obama and people like that. So we have a clip about, I think Ezra's in this clip.
Right. That said, may I suggest that you go to bed kind of early, hydrate, eat your Wheaties in the morning, maybe put off the Friday night cocktail to make it a Saturday night cocktail this week, if at all. I'm only saying that because tomorrow is going to be very busy. Saturday is going to be very busy. I said at the top of the show, there are more than 1,200 protests planned for tomorrow in all 50 states. I stand corrected. It is more than 1,300 protests planned in all 50 states. It's expected to be the largest single day of protest since Donald Trump took office. Joining us now is Ezra Levin. He's co-founder of Indivisible, which is one of the groups that is promoting these events tomorrow. Ezra, thanks very much for joining us tonight. You were here just a couple of 3 weeks ago talking about the earliest idea for April 5th being sort of a hub for events all over the country and in Washington. How has the organizing gone? What has the response been compared to what you expected?
Gosh, Rachel, it's been incredible. Can I just say it has been incredible. We knew when we announced 3 weeks ago on the show that this was going to be the week where we saw an election in Wisconsin. We were cautiously optimistic about that election in Wisconsin for the Supreme Court. We didn't know we were going to kick Elon Musk's butt all across the state, but we were cautiously optimistic. We also didn't know that Cory Booker was going to give this incredible.
Yeah. So that's Ezra. There's Ezra and then this Leah Greenberg person, and they're the ones that are sort of spearheading this. There's other organizations too, obviously, but they're backed by a significant financial foundation boasting a war chest of $11.7 million, which includes $7.26 million from George Soros. So yeah. I'm just curious, like Soros is fine. Like they like him as a billionaire and that Pritzker dude, right? But yeah. Elon is bad. He's a bad billionaire.
Yeah. Well, he's a bad billionaire because in their mind, he's destroying all the things that is government. In their mind, government is God. Government is where it solves problems. Government regulates equity. Government is all the things. And that in their mind is bad. And so Elon is bad. And Elon's a great foil, right? Because they realize Donald Trump's not going to be here forever. Mm-hmm. And you need somebody who's going to be, Batman isn't Batman without Joker. All the other ones are fine, but he's not Batman without Joker. Yeah. And so he's their new Joker. They tried it with DeSantis, but that wasn't
didn't work.
No,
didn't stick.
The Joker's autistic. This isn't fun.
Right. Totally. Exactly. And there's just so much hypocrisy. But they were parading all the weirdos. They found the biggest freaks that they could to put on these stages this weekend. Case in point, Eric Swalwell, the guy who banged a Chinese spy.
America first.
Oh my God.
Trump first.
You banged a Chinese spy.
This guy is a con. Trump Bibles, made in China. Trump sneakers, made in China. The Trump shitcoin, made on a computer made in China.
With this guy.
And he's not just disappearing people. He's disappearing rights.
Disappearing
and to that
people?
we say, disappear, we're still here. Our veterans, we're still here. We're still here. We're still here.
It's so cringe. I mean, it's the cringiest of the cringe.
Who was
It's
the girl was he with? Wang Wang or whatever her name was?
Fang Fang.
Fang
And
Fang.
I was waiting for him to fart on stage. I was just waiting. Like any second
Fang
now.
Fang.
Bang bang. So that was cringe. And then there's this chick, she wanted everybody to know that she's queer, illegal, and totally unafraid and unashamed. So I say, do your job, ICE. Do your job.
Rosas, I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed.
I mean, she's right there. She's right there. Just go get her.
It is.
It's just unreal.
It is. And again, who's that for? Well, the average person, again, as much as you say the average person doesn't care about the stock market, the average person doesn't care about whatever weird shit you're putting out there. By the way, I was looking at a lot of those signs. You've got 5,000 people, 4,999 of them are all protesting something different from the person next to them.
Right.
Palestine, trans rights, immigration, hands off Doge, Social Security.
Yeah.
Like nobody's You're not on the same page. You guys are all over the place.
I know. And the thing is that I think we have at least one of those where they're asked, like, what are you protesting? And they don't even know because they're given signs because they're paid to do this and they have no idea even why they're there. So it's completely nuts. Now listen, to put an extra dollop of cringe on an already cringe cake, there's Norm Eisen. You guys remember him? You remember Norm?
Oh, Norm. The litigators.
Oh my God. Yay! Yay! We're total nerds. We're complete nerds. Okay, wait, there's more cringe. I lied. I totally lied. Sarah McBride, who is the first transgender state senator because libs love their firsts. She got up on stage, she got up on stage. Shim got on stage and talked about stuff. There's that.
Because while we know that Donald Trump thinks that he can place his hands anywhere, we're telling him, hell no, hands off our Social Security, hands off our Medicaid, hands off Medicare, hands off SNAP, hands off our kids.
Hands off our kids?
Hands off women's rights.
Okay.
Hands off LGBTQ rights. Mm-hmm. We are here because we know our lives and the lives of our neighbors are worth fighting for. We know that our future is worth fighting for.
Okay, so hands off our kids. Y'all are the ones who want to cut kids' genitals off, and you want to put men in my daughter's locker room, but keep screaming hands off.
It's me, Linda. That's right. Hands off my penis.
Where? I mean, they're like, let's find the biggest freak and put him on stage. Okay, Sarah will work. And by the way, have you ever noticed that they are all about their firsts, but then when we have firsts, no one ever says anything?
Nobody cares. No.
Well, they should, because we don't care. We don't care.
That's
like
the problem. The problem is we don't make a big deal out of it because
we don't care.
You're not African American. You're just an American. You're not gay American. Mm-hmm. You're just an American. We're just getting on with our life. You guys like to brag about stuff that really means nothing.
It doesn't, because we don't care, because we're not all about melanin or sex. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, like Jackie Robinson, that meant something. When those things meant. You being the first queer Latina, art teacher at some freaking school.
Nobody gives a crap.
No.
Nobody cares. The only people that care are liberals. They put so much focus on that. Like Marco Rubio is the first Hispanic Secretary of State, right? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Anyways. All right. So All right, I got to show you some of the intellectual giants that were at these protests, you guys. They are Mensa candidates. So Soros got them some doozies. Here's some stupid protesters. You ready?
I also value.
Okay, so
rights.
What your Social Security wasn't cut?
My Social Security wasn't cut.
Right.
My offices are being cut back.
Right.
And what happens?
So don't they want to get rid of the bureaucracy?
Bureaucracy sounds great.
Can you name one person in the United States who lost Social Security benefits under Elon Musk?
Who are you taping for?
I'm just getting your opinion.
I'm getting your opinion.
Hey guys, why did you guys come out today? You don't want to come on? No. But you're protesting in public, so you don't want to show your face, but you show your face to the 55,000 cars an hour that are passing on the street here? That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Well, I was just wondering why it's so important to come out. So what are you protesting? What are you protesting? You don't want to cut government waste? I don't get that one. What's wrong with cutting government waste? It's amazing. You don't want to come on camera, but you're out here in public on the street in Suffolk County, Long Island. That shows a bit of cowardice. Good luck with everything, guys.
He's not wrong.
I went out to the Tesla protest 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I got, you know what? It's interesting. There was a lot of interesting people there. A lot of older people too.
Uh-huh.
There was some younger people.
Did you ask questions? Were you like,
I did.
Most
people were fine. They answered, some were wackadoos. And some understood, what I said, the thing that it's the loss of control. A lot of, especially the older people, feel like they're losing control and something's going to be taken away. And then they're going to be stuck in a position where they're having to unretire and work at, 4 jobs just to, make ends meet. That's right. There was a sense of that. The younger people were there to just across the board angry. A lot of them had, it's the Palestinians. I'm like, whatever. It's the LGBTQ plus. It was all, they were different. But for the older people I was talking to, a lot of it was that fear of, these things are going to be taken away from me, and I'm going to have to unretire or sell everything I have or move in with my kids, or you know what I mean? It was right. There was a lot of
desperation. It was desperation.
It was fear.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, but there was some wackadoos out there.
Oh, I'm sure there's some wackadoos out there. I mean, Elon and Doge, they've cut the national deficit by 2.3% since January.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. They found billions in fraud. And people are actually going to have Social Security. Okay.
Yes. And
so
Medicare.
and Medicare and Medicaid. So a lot of what the Democrats are spewing, everything they're spewing is a lie.
Well, because fear sells easier than reason.
Totally.
It's easier for me to go, okay, should I explain something to you that you may not understand the concept or not quite get the whole thing? Or would it just be easier for me to go, I can get your vote by telling you the monster's over there, and the only way to stop the monster is by voting for me?
Totally. It's way easier. And they are, they're catering to the LOFOs, which is what they're doing. Okay. So Pocahontas had herself a little town hall in your town this weekend, like right around where you are, Chad.
God,
did you go?
No. You know what? My son's here. I got better things to do. We're hanging out. Plus, we had massive storms. So
yeah, I heard the weather is not so good there.
Outside was frightful.
Yeah, I heard. So, okay. So she had a little video at the start of it where it was like, put them up. We have that video.
I'm here in Nashville with thousands of people who showed up for a town hall because they care about their neighbors, their jobs, and our country. You know who didn't show up? Their Republican representative.
Them's fighting words. It's fighting words. Yeah.
By the way, let me. Okay, I'm going to translate for everybody who doesn't speak Hiawatha.
You know,
he said her people did not show up be Republican. That's who did. I mean, good God. And, this is a very Republican state, but we have pockets. Davidson County in Nashville is blue, but the rest of the state isn't just kind of red. It is bright red.
Yeah.
And, there's the protest, and even Democrats are hearing it from their people. So, it's like this battle of protest at town halls.
Okay. Interesting.
Just show up. Show up.
Yeah.
We're cutting crap.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? You guys don't want to cut crap? Could you run your house this way? Could you run your house at a deficit of $4 trillion?
We ask that all the time on this show, Chad. Like people, if they could just equate it to a personal budget, and it makes me wonder what some of these people actually do in their personal lives.
Well,
honestly.
yeah. I mean, our credit card limit is tapped. Our machine to print more money is broken.
Right.
We've gone to every Shylock out there to try to borrow money, and they're running us at a rate that is insane. We are done. We've got to cut some of this stuff. And by the way, what's wrong with becoming more efficient? I don't need 12 people to file one piece of paper.
I totally agree. I 100%. But they just won't. They're like, la, 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 Elon bad. Trump orange.
It's the fear
I can't.
factor, I'm telling you, it's the old people are terrified.
Because they don't like change.
No.
They don't like change.
They
It's like accepting technology. They don't want change. It just stop it.
My mom, I still think it's weird that a wall gives me money.
I like to write checks.
Yes.
Paper checks. Okay, so this is Pocahontas making her grand entrance in the high school gym, you guys. I mean, there's a big crowd there. You got to admit, pretty big crowd in the high school gym. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'm waiting for her to say, it's a great crowd here. It's good to be here tonight. Fantastic.
Right.
All right. So abortion, that's bad. just sort of comedy.
She's just awful. She claimed that Trump's agenda is handing the U.S. over to the billionaires, you guys, while protesters that were there were paid for by Soros. And I also want to know how much she made from Pfizer. I do. I want to know that. This concludes your coverage of the protests. I think we're done with that. But speaking of soulless ghouls selling out to pharma, Fauci was also trending again this weekend. And we're going to talk about him just a little bit. We have a video of him. I think we have the first one. Do you have that? I think we have the first clip. He's talking about another respiratory disease
to happen.
here.
I don't know if it's going to be next year or 10 years or 15 or 20 years from now, is the emergence of another respiratory disease. It may be another coronavirus because we know that coronaviruses really, mostly in bats, have the capability of binding to receptors that are in humans. It could be another flu. We're dealing with H5N1 now, which is bird flu, which has taken the somewhat disturbing step of infecting mammals, namely cows and cats and other mammals, which means it's adapting itself more to a human. So my concern, Walter, is that whenever that happens, the next outbreak will be of a respiratory disease that's easily transmissible, that has a significant degree of morbidity.
And we are making this a little bit more dangerous with the cuts and our attitude toward science?
Oh, absolutely.
When people show you who they are, believe them. You know, I mean, that's who this guy is. Why is he not in jail? I don't understand. It's like, I want the Epstein files and I want this evil little troll to be behind bars. I don't understand why that hasn't happened yet. Both of those things.
If there is another, and there will be something else down the road. I mean, that's just, nature does what nature does. And the sad thing is, the reason we don't trust science is because of you. You lied to us. You use science to manipulate us. You use science to grab control. You lied to us over and over again. Not just you, but many of we were talking earlier about the measles and why it doesn't want to get vaccinated. And that used to not be controversial. That's all because of science and the way that it was handled, the way that people were told to shut up. If you even had a question about something, that's the problem. You help build distrust. Not so much on science, but politics that came with the science, not the science itself.
Right. Because like the 6 foot social distancing rule, it was the CDC, they originally said this is a great idea. None of it was backed by clinical trials.
No.
None of it was backed by science. I mean, he went back and forth on masking. The guy he's all about control. And people looked at him and he said, "I am science." No, you're not.
Yeah. No,
that's not how science works.
Yeah. Science can be challenged.
Right.
And we allowed it to become political. And once anything becomes political, I don't care. If you're talking about your grass out front, if it becomes political, it's going to be a nightmare.
Oh, it was an absolute nightmare.
That's what happened.
And you're right. Nobody has faith in public health anymore. It's done, completely done. We have a second clip from him that was floating around this weekend.
What needed to be done is that you needed to have physical distancing, which, people say lockdown. We didn't lock down. China locked down. We definitely closed a lot of things down. So I think if you really are fair and stop the finger pointing, in the beginning, it was absolutely essential. The only way to immediately shut down the 4,000 to 5,000 deaths per day was to shut things down for a while. That was the right choice. The thing we need to re-examine is how long you did that, how long schools were closed, how long industry was shut down.
So wait, what you're sort of saying is maybe it was too long.
Maybe it was, I think,
in retrospect.
I think what people are getting confused is the idea of shutting things down temporarily was the right decision. Everyone agrees.
We also flattened the curve, but when the curve got flattened, we didn't get to send kids back to school.
What happened is that there became almost an ideological divide. One thing is very clear: masks work. You see a lot of people say masks don't work. Masks worked. The other thing that's
the clapping.
Well, let me push back on that a little bit too. Even those little cloth masks.
Well, again, there's the rub, Walter. A proper mask, an N95 or a KN95.
I can't with this guy.
Properly worn all the time. If someone comes in and says, I don't know what happened. I wore a mask for most of the time. Then I went to the restaurant. I took my mask off and I had my meal and I got infected. Masks don't work. Well, you took the mask off.
Yes. And it's the right mask. It's the right mask. That's the other thing. Oh, well, hello there.
I know. I'm sorry. My dogs have now they've invaded my space. Everything is mayhem here. I'm sorry.
It's the right mask, right? Like anything. It's the right mask.
Yes.
Right? If I hand you a bulletproof vest, but inside of it is, popcorn, the chances are it's not stopping a bullet because it's not the right bulletproof vest.
It's just we were at Starbucks this weekend, and my husband, we just went to some rando Starbucks, and my husband's like, Amy, look at the floor. And you could see the remnants from the tape. Do you guys remember the tape on the floor where they'd be like, stand here and get in line to get your drinks or do whatever at whatever retail place that you were at? Oh my God.
And the plexiglass as if it couldn't go over.
It's just, we were like, everything became so stupid during COVID. It was stupid. And it was because of that evil little troll. Now, I think Pacman is a rapper. I remember it as being a video game, but this guy I don't listen to any new rap, but I think he's a rapper. Anywho, he's on Charlemagne's show. And I really like this exchange. And I wanted to share it with you guys. I mean, he has a great point. You guys, those tests.
Is it even real?
They're sus. They're totally sus. Like, have you ever taken one of those tests and you've been like, wait, I feel fine. I feel great. I'm at the top of my game. Oh, wait, I'm positive for COVID. I'm not. I think they're bogus. I think they're all bogus. I do. I agree with Pacman. I don't even know who Pacman is.
Why not agree with Pacman?
I do. I agree with
Love the game and I love the rapper.
I swear. Okay. He's base. I think the COVID test is bogus. I agree with him 1,000%. And then this video, I've got to get my dogs out of here. Just 1 second, please. Hold on.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Hope all is well. We're going to get the dogs out of here.
Oh my God. It's mass mayhem. Sorry. Okay. And then this video made me laugh because it's Carvey and Spade. And I love Carvey and Spade together, you guys, because I'm a Gen Xer.
I know. Dude, you know when I knew there was trouble? When anyone that came to our country didn't have to get a vaccine. And I go, if you're telling me I can't go to work, but everyone coming in doesn't have to get one, I go,
well, once we found out when Fauci said, okay, I'm sorry, but if you've had 2 boosters and 2 vaccines, you can get and give COVID to another guy who's had 5 vaccines and 4 boosters. What's the difference between a vaccine and a booster? I don't know. It's just more vaccine, but booster sounds better. Anyway, a guy with 25 vaccines would get and give COVID to another guy with 25 vaccines. That's why I'm introducing the daily COVID shot. Every day you get a shot. By the time you get to your car, you got no immunity. But it's a beautiful 39 seconds.
I freaking love them. Sorry, I do.
Awesome.
Oh my God. Okay. We got to talk about your garden, you guys, really quick. Did you know that Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the US with thousands of different plants and over 2 million happy customers? And I am one of them. Okay. I just want to put stuff in the ground and not think about it because I suck at gardening. I totally do. And I just want immediate gratification. I got knockout roses for them a few years back. And oh my God, you guys, they are gorgeous. Like I just pretend that I know how to garden and then I know what I'm doing. Look at them.
Holy mother of God.
Look at those. Aren't they gorgeous?
Those are knockouts.
Those are mine. I did that. I love how you can get on the site. You can tell them your zone and you're like, hey, here are the plants that I like and everything. And they tell you this is what will actually grow in your area and what's good for the Texas sun and what the Texas sun won't kill, because the Texas sun is like fire, And apparently the Texas sun will not kill those beautiful roses. So it's perfect for my location. I got some yuccas for them too. I got yuccas everywhere. So forget nurseries, forget messing up your car. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to order online. Your plants are delivered to your door. And this spring, you can get up to 50% off select plants at fastgrowingtrees.com/chicks. Plus use code chicks at checkout for an extra 15% off your first purchase. Visit fastgrowingtrees.com/chicks. Use code chicks.com. It's the perfect time to plant. Did you those roses? Seriously. I did that, you guys. All right. So speaking of Texas, we have to give you an update on this Frisco high school murder story. God, I hate this story so much, you guys. Okay. It's one of those stories though, that's so indicative of our culture right now. So more than 30 students and coaches are listed. You heard about the story, right, Chad?
Been talking about it.
I feel like everybody's heard about the story. And more than 30 students and coaches are listed as witnesses now to Austin Metcalf's death. And they, I guess they were saying, like people were saying that, or Karmelo Anthony, he told officers at the scene that he was assaulted first. And he acted in self-defense. This is what he is saying, okay? He said he put his hands on me. I told him not to. But then one witness told police that Metcalf had told Anthony that he would need to move out from under the team's tent. And then upon telling him this, the witness told police that Anthony opened his bag, reached inside. Anthony told Metcalf, Austin, touch me, see what happens. And then Metcalf reportedly then touched Anthony. The witness told a responding officer, and Anthony told Metcalf to punch him and see what would happen. Soon afterward, Austin reportedly grabbed Anthony, told him to move, at which point, he got a knife and did what he did. But now this is, the whole thing is completely absurd because people are saying that Karmelo is a hero for this. Like
I don't really get the hero thing.
It's absurd. It's nuts. This is completely nuts. So we have a clip about, or I think we have a screenshot or something with him being, there we go. Yeah. This person said he's a national hero. It's unfortunate. Austin Metcalf it's unfortunate he lost his life, but this is a clear case of self-defense. And hopefully this young man can return home safely to his family. This is how the spin is happening here. So there's another dude named, I think it's Tariq Nasheed, who tweeted this absolute garbage last Friday. Oh my God, a suspected white supremacist named Austin Metcalf, pictured with his twin, allegedly demanded honor student Karmelo Anthony give up his seat like it was the Jim Crow era. Karmelo defended himself from the alleged threat. The Daniel Penny case set this precedent. Okay.
By the way, you're not on the team, and this is our tent.
Right.
Why are you in our tent? You're not on our team. Why did you bring a knife to a track meet?
Right. And well, come to find out, Karmelo Anthony was skipping school the day of the murder, and he had previously been suspended for bringing a knife to school. So that, I think, there's another one too. We have another one, Valen, I think. Yeah. So this is from CBS. I think it's a local affiliate. Yeah. New information about the investigation into the stabbing death of 17-year-old Frisco student athlete. So they learned from law enforcement that that Karmelo had previously been suspended for bringing a knife to school. Law enforcement sources tell us that 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony should have been in class at Centennial High School and was skipping school when he allegedly stabbed Austin, following an altercation. We have not received a response from Frisco ISD to that information. He remains in jail. He has $1 million bond. They spoke to Austin's father about what caused the altercation. He says it started when his twin sons questioned Anthony about why he was standing over by their school's track team instead of his own. He says he can forgive what happened to his son, but believes the teenager accused deserves the death penalty if convicted. Over the weekend, I saw there were 12 GoFundMes for Karmelo.
Yeah,
and
give, send, go, because GoFundMe doesn't allow you to do some of that stuff, right?
Is that what it is? Oh, well,
yeah.
I thought it was illegal because you can't if somebody's in jail for murder. I don't think you can do GoFundMes for that.
Give,
but yeah,
Send, Go is the company that allows you to, like, for the Mangione. Remember, they call him a hero. They call Mangione a hero.
Yeah, I don't. It's just our culture is so whack right now. Like, I hate the story. I don't care who you are, okay, but. It's like I've had lots of conversations with my daughter about this particular story because we are in Texas, and she knows, some girls that go to schools up in that area that she goes to church camp with in the summer or whatever, that know some of the, peripheral people that are, in that school, near that school. And I shouldn't have to say this out loud, but if there's a confrontation with somebody, or if there's even a suspected confrontation, the solution or the response to that confrontation should never be to stab somebody in the heart.
No. We've got a problem with young men who are broke in this country.
Right.
Who think that every single thing has to be handled with violence and death, whether it's guns or stabbing. Somewhere along the line, we've even jumped past just duking it out. We've now gotten to the point now where it's like, nope, it's got to be. We got to go straight to here.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do we hear stories of two guys bumping each other at a mall? They take out guns and they never hit each other, but they'll hit the 14 people around them.
I totally agree. And you know what, Chad? It's not just dudes. It's girls and women too. I mean, my daughter, when we moved to Texas, she was at like a little farm school when we lived in Indiana. We moved to Texas. She moved to a much bigger school. It was an adjustment for all of us, especially for her, because she started middle school, and middle school sucks to begin with, right? So we were like, well, we'll just traumatize her and move her in middle school because it's traumatizing anyway, right? So when she moved here, she was in a much bigger atmosphere, and there was fighting, and the fighting wasn't between the boys. The fighting was between the girls.
Mean girls.
But they fought. They weren't just like, when I was in school, girls were like, meow, and we were catty and verbal. Now they are fighting. Girls fight. Girls are awful, but they fight. And I've never seen this. This is something that I've never experienced. And so I would tell her, listen, here's my advice to you. If you ever are in a situation where you come across or somebody's egging you on or trying to provoke you, walk away. The best you can, you walk away from it. You just don't even want to engage in fighting. But if somebody wails on you, you wail back. You know what I mean? You defend yourself, obviously.
Absolutely. Protect yourself.
But this whole but you're so right about the stabbing and the shoot. I mean, I'm a kid of the 80s. Like, we saw boys that would fight in the hall and stuff like that, but then they get over it. You know what I mean? It was like, no, it's just it's senseless, completely senseless. But we got to talk about this pro-abortion advocate. She punched a pro-life advocate. And this also happened. So this is another example of, it's women being violent with one woman being violent with another woman. But you guys check this out.
If I don't want to have a baby, I should have the choice to.
Just don't have sex then. Just don't have sex.
That's not even logical.
It is.
It is. Who are you, Nancy?
I sound dumb.
You sound dumb as
Okay.
It does, because even as teens, people explore. And it's like, as funny as you want to be, people should still have the choice.
So you went from saying that my outfit was really cute to saying I'm an effing idiot. That's so mean.
But I think that your point of view is very obstructed, and I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
I mean,
what's wrong with you?
You have
my God.
Okay, so that's Savannah, and I think it's Savannah Anteo. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She was filming for Live Action, which you guys probably, a lot of you have heard of Live Action, and she was bloody, like her face was all. I mean, she got her good, and this chick, I think her name is Brianna Rivers. They were having a conversation in Harlem. It was a pretty long conversation. They had talked for 15, 20 minutes, I think, before she punched her in the face. And I think she was just over it. She was like, I'm just tired of. And then there was a follow-up. She apologized for punching her. I think we have that apology. I think we have that. Fallon. Do we have that? No. Oh,
Me in the face.
yes.
We were.
Do we have it? No. Yes. Right there. Yes. To Savannah, I sincerely apologize, but cannot sit around and allow you to continue pushing this one-sided narrative. I understand hands being put on someone is never the answer, but throwing rocks and hiding hands is worse. She knows the truth and she needs to release the footage in its entirety. Savannah is a professional antagonist, not a reporter, and the truth will be told. I mean, I
saw the whole thing. Was there something that happened before?
No, nothing. She punched her.
Yeah.
She punched her. She hurt her. And I mean, I'd be like, straight to jail. You don't get to punch me in the face. You don't get to do that. So you don't have to sit there and talk to her. Nobody's forcing you.
Just, you know what? We have a differing point of view. I appreciate you. Have a great day and you walk away.
Right. So this is the thing. A lot of violence happening, and too much. And she is clearly on the left. That other woman's clearly on the right. I'll be very interested to see if liberals say, hey, we need to tone down the rhetoric. Hey, we need to tone down the violence. You know what I mean? They don't do that when it's their side. They don't.
No, they don't.
So that's a little annoying. Okay. So we have to talk about some more violence from the left. There's another couple stories I got to tell you guys about. I know you're shocked about that, but first we have to talk about meat really quick. I know a lot of people like ham or turkey for Easter, but Omaha Steaks has a 2.5 and a 5-pound ham. They look amazing. I love ham, but we're pretty non-traditional at Easter. We do the good old fashioned cookout thing at our house. We do lots of meat, lots of sides, and a big old egg hunt on the back too, back there. It's like a kickoff for grilling season at our house. It opens the floodgates for all like the Mother's Day, the Father's Day, the Memorial Day, 4th of July, all that. Easter is my favorite, you guys. Favorite next to Christmas. And cookouts make me happy. And Omaha Steaks is my cookout BFF. They have the best, yummiest steaks, burgers, chicken, pork chops, hot dogs, all of it. And they have a Springs savings event going on right now. You can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, you can get an extra $30 off with promo code CHICKS at checkout. I love the convenience. I love giving Omaha Steaks as a gift. I've done it to my mom several times. I love the selection. Mock loves their seafood. If that's your thing, check it out. Look at all the seafood stuff. But visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their spring savings event. And for an extra $30 off, use promo code CHICKS at checkout. That's 50% off. Do it. We love our sponsor, Omaha Steaks, and I love meat. All right. Democrats are inciting violence again. So there is a New Mexico Senator, Nicole Tobiasen, I think is how you pronounce her last name. She says the state Republican headquarters was destroyed because a Democrat political leader called for it. Okay. So between the Tesla attacks and this stuff, all this stuff, none of this stuff is getting news coverage either. Like you have to search for it on X.
The Tesla stuff gets some news coverage.
It does.
It's just so bizarre. So wait a minute. You're going to attack a car that the person who's driving has never met the person you don't like.
Right.
They have bought the car for some other reason. And by the way, the car, for the most part, is the truck. It's really interesting. It's the truck. It's not it's not a lot of the other cars because my brother is waiting for it. Because he can't wait because he's old, played minor league hockey, wants to throw knucks.
And he wants.
Oh, he's waiting for somebody to say something. But then they turn over, look at him and say, no, I don't think I'm going to say anything.
He's a big dude. He's like, they're not going to do it.
I was thinking about this, but he looks
not going to do it. Not going to do it. But the state Republican headquarters, they're destroying that. Like what? And for what? Like what?
Does
I
that
don't.
change votes? Is that what happens? Did everybody's vote change?
This is the thing. Like, what is their desired outcome with this? We have a video about this.
And behind me, what you're looking at is the result of political violence last night here at our state Republican headquarters in Albuquerque. Listen, we just had a 60-day session where we had respectful discourse in the legislature. We worked together as much as we could, but I've heard that there's a political leader here in New Mexico that is calling for Democrat citizens to agitate Republicans, and this is a direct result of that rhetoric, which isn't allowable. We can't allow people to incite violence, especially when we're trying to come together as a country, as a city. We're all neighbors here in Albuquerque and New Mexico, and this type of incident cannot happen again.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's the party of compassion, the party of tolerance, the party of open-mindedness. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Well, of course it is. But again, it's all based on emotion. And emotion will make you do logic's not going to make you do that. Logic's going to go, this probably isn't a cool idea. This isn't going to change anybody's mind. This is stupid. They're the ones with all the guns, by the way.
And somebody in here, and that's a great word to use. It is an insurrection. A lot of people are, yes, season for reason. It is. It does sound like an insurrection. Exactly. So that's what everybody should be saying that. Everybody should be responding with that. So where is the outrage about this insurrection, which is precisely what it is? Okay. Changing gears again to immigration and to things that are happening in Texas too, that you guys need to be aware of, because I think it's a microcosm for things that could be happening all over the country. But in 2015, I just thought this was a really interesting clip you guys had to see. Bernie Sanders argued that open borders was a right-wing idea, and I'm not even making this up, okay? He warned that unchecked immigration could negatively impact the American worker. Check this out. What's even happening? What did I even see there? So it's a right-wing idea until it becomes a left-wing idea when you want to have Democrat voters, right? Yeah. You want to import a bunch of Democrat voters.
I mean, for years, it was always the left wanted open borders because eventually we're going to make everybody a citizen. They'll vote for us. The right wanted it because they were going to pay everybody $1, which, by the way, if you've ever hired anybody, try paying them $1. They'll tell you to kiss your ass. That's not going to happen. So
oh my God.
It was always, did the Koch brothers probably want cheap labor? Yeah. By the way, let's not pretend they didn't, but let's not pretend that the left wasn't fine with it too, because the thought process is we're going to get all these people legalized, and we've just imported the downfall of the Republicans.
Absolutely. The downfall of the Republic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, and they did want to, import a bunch of Democrat voters, and now all these people that have, immigrated here don't want to melt into the melting pot. They want to stay segregated. That's what drives me crazy.
Multiculturalism at its finest. It is the worst thing that society has ever done everywhere. You can't have a melting pot. Go take everything out of your refrigerator, throw it into a pan right now, cook it up, tell me how good that tastes.
Right.
Right? No.
But I will say, though, that Mock will argue because her parents came from Poland.
But they wanted to be Americans.
Oh my God. So they were Americans. And that is the definition of a melting pot, right? It's like they are very, these people are Polish. Yeah. And those girls are 100%, Polish blood, but they are really 100% American. They're American girls.
My grandfather was born and raised in Mexico, came over here till the day he died, his English was always broken, even though he lived here forever, was an American citizen, wouldn't let my uncle and I learn Spanish. Would not, because his whole thing was, you're American. This is America. This is what it's all about. He loved America. He loved the Dodgers. He loved baseball and apple pie and Florida July.
See, this is the thing. That's how Mock's parents are. I love that. It's like they're all about making their girls American, and they love this country and they love everything it's about, and it's all about melting. And they were very big on that. People nowadays don't want to do that. Case in point, what's happening in Texas right now. There is an Islamic megacity. Okay. They're trying to They're trying to build it north of, it's in North Texas. It's like the East Plano Islamic Center. They're trying to build this 402-acre development that is about 40 miles northeast of Dallas. It would have a mosque, 1,000 single and multifamily homes, a K-12 faith-based school, senior housing, an outreach center, sports facilities, a community college. The first 450 plots sold out within days of its announcement, okay, on the mosque's website. Greg Abbott has accused the project of promoting Sharia law in Sharia cities, and I am in full agreement of that. That's exactly what they're doing. So in at least 4 investigations, they found that the project may be discriminating against non-Muslims. You think?
You know, it's funny. A whole bunch of rednecks should buy plots in there.
You can't. They won't let you because it's in violation of Texas fair housing. So it's also, there's like all the stuff against investors. There's violations of Texas consumer protection laws. They're operating an illegal funeral home on site.
Yeah.
So he talked about this on Laura Ingram's show. You guys check this out.
Part by that statement, but also in part by information that we've gathered, there appear to be multiple violations that have taken place here. One is information has been provided to investors that appears to be misleading. Another is they appear to be in violation of fair housing laws. Also, we found that, you know, they talk about doing all this building, but they don't have any building permits to actually do any building, and they have challenges even getting those building permits. Believe this or not, we've even received information that they may have been conducting a funeral home without legal authority. Bottom line, Laura, is that there so many questions arose, especially information that we received, that led us to need to call the elite Texas Rangers to conduct a criminal investigation to find out if criminal laws in Texas have been violated.
Get the Rangers on it.
That's right.
Oh my God. I see this and my blood starts boiling. It's okay. The new older millennial, he breaks it down perfectly. I cannot say it any better than this guy.
Texas is definitely not fucking happening, but let's talk about it anyway. If you're unaware of what this is, basically it was a Muslim-funded organization wanted to build a city that was completely Islam focused. You know, they wanted to have Sharia law, or at least a version of it that was a little more compatible with America. They wanted to be able to restrict who lived there. You know, you had to be Muslim to live in the community. And if you somehow weren't Muslim, you had to abide by their Muslim law. Basically, they wanted to create a little segregation for Muslims only, which I hopefully don't have to explain to everyone is not only illegal, it's also unconstitutional. But more than anything, I have to make something very clear. Islamic principles are incompatible with Western values. Like they just are. Sharia law is incompatible with the freedom we have in the West. Because Sharia law is by its nature restrictive. It's by its nature discriminatory. It's by its nature sexist and racist as shit. It is an anathema to everything we believe of in the West. And more than anything, that's the reason it's not going to happen. Like, sure, it's an easy argument to say it's illegal to tell somebody they got to be a certain religion to live in a town. And sure, it's easy to point out how unconstitutional it is to fucking segregate people. But more than anything, this shit is just incompatible with the way we are. This shit is incompatible with the freedom that our Constitution guarantees. Like, let's be real about this for a second. The UK in the next 10 years is going to become an Islamic caliphate. Like, they're already well on their way to becoming one. And simply put, we are going to learn from the lessons of the UK. We're going to learn from the failures of the UK. And there's no fucking way we're ever allowing something like Epic City to happen here in the United States.
And not in Texas. Not up in here.
Not up in Texas.
Not in Texas.
That's insane. And I've got friends who I lived in the UK for a decade, and I talked to them and they're like, dude, this is not the place you'd remember. It's a different world.
Oh my God. What a shame.
Because, you know, you got Little Italy and you've got, you know, certain places you got, I mean, you can go to Chinatown. I have news for you. Go to Chinatown. There are people that live there who've been there for 70 years. They don't speak a word of English.
Yeah.
They've never had to. But you know what? I could move in there if I wanted to.
Right. I totally agree. I hear you. I hear you, Chad.
The law is the law. There's no, you know, I mean, the law is the law. It's no different than the law outside of Chinatown. This was something they're trying to set up here. And the difference is Chinatown's not trying to take over the world.
Right.
But China's, you know, but they're not trying to export stuff out of Chinatown into taking over parts of California and then growing it. No, that's not what they're about.
Sweet little old lady in Chinatown is not doing that. You're
No.
absolutely right. It's like, but that epic mega city, whatever they're doing, epic bullshit city in northern Texas, they're playing the long game, y'all. That's what we cannot allow that to happen.
No,
not up in here.
Being Muslim's one thing. Being a person who is living in your own world, almost like they're trying to turn it into a part reservation. Like this is our own land. We have our own rules. And you know what? No, that's not the way it does here.
Nope. Not going to happen. No effing way. Not in Texas. All right. You know what else should not be happening?
What?
Dudes in women's sports. Okay. Last thing we're going to talk about today, because we have jumped every shark at this point. It's like we are in a South Park episode at this point.
We're over a megalodon at this point in time.
We are. It's like we're full blown crazy. Like we're living in a South Park episode. We're going to get to it. There is, I can't even. Okay, so last Wednesday, there was a transgender athlete named Zachary Rose, and this individual took home first place in a varsity high jump competition at an Oregon high school meet. Okay, that was 2 years after finishing last as a dude. Okay, I can't. Okay, so this is after Ada Gallagher, who's a trans track athlete in the Portland area, also blew out the competition last March. You guys check this video out of Ada Gallagher. This individual is 7 seconds ahead of the girls. Blew the competition out. This is happening everywhere.
Go, Ada! What's their name, by the way? What's his grandmother's name?
That's a dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Not even close to the biological girls. Not even close. All right. And now I'm not even kidding when I say we're living in a South Park episode. It finally happened, ladies. There are two biological men competing against each other in a sports competition. It's like, this is what's happening. In the final, there are two men that are going to face each other for a women's championship title at the Ultimate Pool Women's Pro Series event 2 tonight. I think it's tonight. Is it tonight? Last night. It was last night in the UK. Harriet Haynes and Lucy Smith, both trans-identified females. Look at them. Two men, two biological men. We have jumped all the sharks. They beat all the female competitors to take the spots in the women's final event. I can't with this. What is even
the things too? You're thinking pool. It's like that. If anything, it shouldn't have any kind of bearing on anything. It's pool. But even then, the men are better.
It shouldn't, but it does, and that pisses me off. So women are being completely erased. Where are the feminists? God, this just irritates me to no end. All women should be out. All women. I don't care if you're liberal.
The thing right there. Ladies, if you want this to stop, you've got to be louder. Men can't do it because at some point men are going to go, well, the quicker women are out of sports, the more entertaining women's sports will be.
Right.
At some point in time, they're going to say that. But you want this gone? It's got to be you standing up saying, no, I'm sorry. We can't have this anymore. This is too much.
Right.
We don't want anything bad to happen to anybody. We're not saying you don't exist. We're just saying it's not fair that your hands are the size of hams and our hands aren't.
Yeah. And people will say, oh, this is happening in the UK. It's going to happen here. It's just a matter of time. It's like we're 2 seconds away from this happening in the United States. I'm so over this crap. And I bet all of their parents look like this.
But can also be seen? The answer is us. We are trans parents. Happy International Trans Day of Visibility.
That's what their parents look like. That's what their parents look like.
In the immortal words of Cartman, gay.
Gay. Why are you gay? Why? Okay, so that is that. I was going to show you some videos about Jake Tapper and how much he lies. I don't know. Do we have the? I don't know if we have the old footage of us back in 2014. I never resolved that, Valen. I don't know if we have that, and I don't know if maybe I'll wait and we can show it at the end of the week. So I'm just going to because I don't think we have sound. And so I don't want to show Jake Tapper if we can't show our video from Don Lemon. So we're just going to call it a day, you guys. We're going to call it a day. We're going to go ahead and look at some comments. I can only look at the ones out here that are starred. We're going to have to get to the other ones tomorrow because I can't look at the other stuff. But I see one from Robin Dye. Skinnerd was your first LP, August 1973. Freebird, a boomer anthem. Is it a boomer anthem? I guess it is.
So. And by the way, they were all alive-ish back then.
They were.
Yeah.
My daughter
entered the cover band.
I got like videos last night of my daughter like taping Freebird and Sweet Home Alabama. Isn't that crazy? She's so 15. Crazy. I mean, it transcends generations, you guys. Dave Larson, I had the measles way back when. Now you know someone that's had them. Take my money. There you go, Dave. Thank you. And now I know somebody. Reba Henry, that virus was developed by China with a purpose. Now that Trump is back in office, let's see what the next thing is they release. I agree with that. I'm just waiting, especially since Fauci kind of.
I blame China as much as Fauci.
Mm-hmm. I do. Oh, I do too. I totally do too. I think they were working in cahoots.
And I tell you what, Trump would have got a lot more out of these tariffs if he had said, and the other part of this is because you sons of bitches screwed us. And now we're going to screw you.
Yeah, I agree. Like, when did they have to pay for that?
Yeah.
I feel like they have to.
We're going to have a 2% tax on COVID, bitches.
Right. Agreed, Chad. Arnerm, I guess the Wi-Fi password mafia is saying that men are better at being women than women are. Richard Levine's Woman of the Year Award, NCAA championships, and Olympic gold medals show it. Now take my money. Thank you. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And Chad, thank you for hanging out with me. It's always a pleasure. You are just so sweet to do this with us. You guys, make sure that you thank Chad. Chad, where can everybody find you?
Go to YouTube, like and subscribe, Chad Benson Show, and on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else at Chad Benson Show. So, and I guess I'm back on Friday as well.
Yeah, you are back on Friday with me. She's taking Friday off as well. Everybody have
which
it is which you are. You're the bread this week. You're the bread of a chick sandwich. You guys have a wonderful day. We will talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Hello, beautiful people. This is the Chicks on the Right's Indian correspondent. Thank you for watching or listening. Be very sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on all of their delicious content. Okay, thank you. Come again.